tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us. And remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Good morning. Morning. I pressed the wrong button on my speaker. Now it's going to go, dinner. That's what it sounds like when it starts up. I stem a lot with my speaker. The startups, it sounds cooler. Chicka chicka roo. Chicka chicka roo. Dunk. What a fun sound. Chicka chicka roo. Dunk. Chicka doo. All right. Morning, leisure. Good Wednesday morning, leisure. It's time for Wednesday edition tonight. I'll be on after I do Jeff Allen. Jeff Allen is today. I woke up in a good mood for the first time in a long time. And it wasn't really because of the show. It was because I talked about it with my therapist yesterday that I wake up in the morning and it's just like I seem to search out somebody to be angry with. And there's always somebody. There's always somebody that I can, my mind will create shit. Well, this person hasn't. I'm gonna put pants on later I think Jeff Allen deserves for me to put pants on. So, and I'm kind of prepared too, because it's just the setup's a little different, because there's gonna need to be time for people to get there. So the way that it's gonna work is I'm gonna do a countdown, and during that countdown, I'll be sending out the link. That's when I'll be sending out the link. We're live. Get your butt here. We're live and all this other stuff, right? Then I'm going to talk with Jeff a little bit. We're going to promote his stuff. He has a tour going on. He has a book, things like that. We're going to do that. And then we're going to play the theme song, and then he'll tell his story. That should give everybody, about 5 to 7 minutes to get on, and that should work out. So I'm really excited. I get to show off some talents I don't usually get to show off today. So I'm excited about that. But my point was I made a decision this morning to be in a good mood. And that was the plan anyway. But I got a message from a friend that said, "Good morning. I've decided I've been too negative the last few days. I asked God to remove that shit so I could be of service. Love you. I know you're going to kill it today on the podcast." I love waking up to stuff like that. Absolutely love it. And I wrote back, I'm like, I've made a decision to be in a good mood today too. Right. Now, it certainly helps that something exciting is going on. I'm going to say that does help. Leisure says, amen for you and your big day, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's kind of our big day. I know that I get to do but I put a lot of work. 3,000 videos, 550 episodes later. Right. What about Scott, who only has sisters? Serving my brother. Actually, that's a good point, right? Serving my brother. Maybe we'll change that. Serving my brother / sister. There you go. It's updated. Are you happy? It's not going to change everything, though. It's just going to change it here. Yeah, it's like, sorry, it failed to update. Sorry, Charlie. Sorry, Charlie. So I'll try again. but don't bother because it's not going to work. You know what time it is? It's not just 10:54. It's time for Dion's Daily Funnies. I got prepared. I went to Reddit this time, and I can tell you now they're not going to be the nice, sweet jokes. We might be walking a thin red line here. We might be. I don't know. Reddit isn't usually as clean. See, the whole point is that they're kind of clean and stupid. But we're running out of them. So let's see what happens. It's really unfortunate that Islam, Christianity, and Judaism have been fighting each other for centuries. Hindus, on the other hand, they never had a beef. Oh, no. A lady was running up the stairs at church. She asked a little boy sitting at the top, "Is mass out?" He said, "No, but your hat's on crooked." Where does Walmart keep their Terminator toys? I'll be back. I'll be back. And I'll be in the back. I'll be in the back. I'll be back. All right. Did you know that in the movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the guy that played the Terminator, wanted to say, "I will be back." And he was talking with James Cameron, right? James Cameron, he's the one that did that movie, I believe so. Whoever the director was, the writer-director. And he's like, and the writer, Cameron's all, "Hey, or James Cameron, he's all, "Hey, do I tell you how to act?" And Arnold's all, "No." And James Cameron goes, "Then don't tell me how to fucking write." And now "I'll be back" is one of the most famous lines ever. All right. What's worse than it raining buckets? Hailing taxis. I hate it when it hails taxis. A little bit worse than when it rains cats and dogs. I don't have falling taxi damage insurance. Do you? Might want to get that. All right. I might be old, but I still have a memory when I might be old, but still have a memory of an elephant. When I was 4 years old, I went to the zoo and saw an elephant. All right. That's good enough for now, right? Reddit for the win. All right. Oh, I need to put they. It's Scott, who only has sisters. All right. Silly people. So silly. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. I got to add another one on there. It says, "Welcome to Raw Recovery." Actually, I don't do all this during Raw Recovery. I don't put this stuff up. All right. If you're here, please say hello, whether watching the live or the rewatch. Just trying to think of the little things that I'm going to need to get done. Right. Like you see how it says the Daily Trudge up here in the corner. Yeah, I'm going to need to change that graphic. Right. I've got a couple over here. But I'm going to have to do a Raw Recovery one. Okay. Or I could use that. There we go. That one kind of works. Right. All right. Today, we are talking about serving our brother and or sister or they, them. There we go. Is everybody covered now? Did I cover the spectrum? I mean, I'm already on the spectrum, so we don't need to worry about that part. But have I appeased everybody? Is the question. Yeah, definitely appeasing. All right, so we're going to read. This is today's daily reflection because I got enough going on. I didn't need to have to figure something out. But it's cool because it goes into AA Comes of Age, which we don't get to read as often. So that part's kind of cool. But we're going to do the reflection first. Serving my fellow people. There we go. The member talks to the newcomer not in a spirit of power, but in the spirit of humility and weakness. Oh, woo. Alcoholics Anonymous comes of age, page 279. I'm going to slow down a little bit here so that I don't use up all of my excited energy. I'm excited right now, but when I'm done with this, it will turn into nervousness. Oh, I'm really nervous. Are you kidding? This is the biggest podcast I've ever done. And this isn't okay. I've been interviewing for a very long time. My podcast is not my first interview show. Hey, the funny thing is nobody knows who he is. All right. Okay. All right. There's been a few people. There was one person, my wife's best friend. She put up a Jeff Allen post. I'm like, hey, he's going to be on the show. She's like, I get a thumbs up. I'm like, you jerk. She's awesome, though. My wife's best friend is awesome. She's a bitch, which is what I love about her. Yeah. Yeah. Why? Because she protected my wife, and it's something I very much appreciate. Yeah. And they're such solar opposites. It's funny to watch those two get together. They're a couple of shitheads when they get together. All right. And I say that in the most loving, kind, fun way. All right. As the days pass in AA, I ask God to guide my thoughts and the words that I speak. Somebody sent me a message earlier saying that's what they were going to do today. What a good way to start off your day, by asking God for direction. How about a simple thank you? Thank you, God. I had a good day yesterday. Okay, let's have another one. All right. The biggest podcast you've done is 9. But these go to 11. This is what happens when Amber and Dion's in a good mood and Leisure's joining in. All right. In this labor of continuous participation in the fellowship, I have numerous opportunities to speak. So I frequently ask God to help me watch over my thoughts and my words, that they may be the true and proper reflections of our program, to focus my aspiration once again to seek his guidance to help me be truly kind, loving, helpful, and healing, yet always filled with humility and free from any trace of arrogance. Oh, huh. Yeah. That was one long sentence. They had a couple of commas in there, but that was a long sentence, right? So, and I do that, and it was kind of cool because while I was doing that, I get to sit down and pray with Jeff Allen before we even start this today. That's kind of cool. Anyway, all right, yeah. Before I do this, God, give me the right. I do it. God, give me the right words. I need your words. When I finish a serenity prayer, when we're at an AA meeting and we finish a serenity prayer, even if I'm sharing, what goes through my mind next is, give me the right words. I need your words, God. Because mine don't suffice. They don't seem to be. We are vessels. Vessels. Captain, there's a vessel. Wrong accent. Really wrong accent. All right. Shannon likes her opposites. Her and I talked about the other day. Oh, did you? That's not surprising. Amber says, my podcast was the best there ever was. Oh, I get it. The biggest podcast you've done is 9. 9, which would mean in Russia, that would be none or no. But she meant mine. All right. So his guidance, right? That be truly kind and loving, helpful and healing, yet always filled with humility. Got to be full of humility and free from any trace of arrogance. I think that's the harder part, being free trace of any arrogance. when I get excited, I get kind of arrogant. See, it's a good thing that we're reading this. I'm so glad I cut off the wings. My hair looks so much better. Doesn't it look good? Somebody say, Dion, God, your hair looks good. I do that with my grandkids, dig for compliments. Grandpa's what? The best grandpa in the world? Yes, he is. That's right. Would you like your ice cream now? My grandkids love me. Well, the older ones don't think I'm so cool anymore, but that's all right. They'll turn back around one day. All right, today I may very well have to deal with the disagreeable attitudes or utterances, the typical stock and trade attitude of the still suffering alcoholic. Now you might run into um, people with bad attitudes. Leisure says, so I read that Jeff was an atheist before finding recovery. That is true. And I'm actually going to ask him to tell that story today. It is hilarious. It's hilarious. I told a little bit of it the other day. All right. And Leisure wins today. He is the winner. He says, your hair looks luscious. Yeah. Another great 90s band, female 90s band, Luscious Jackson. I'm going to go put that in because I'm going to listen to some Luscious Jackson. Luscious Jackson. Right? What is it? They sang Naked Eye, City Song, Under Your Skin. I think that's the one that I knew. All right. Anyway. And I believe they were on the Romeo and Juliet soundtrack. All right. A little bit of plugging around here. And I haven't really talked anything on the topic. Right? The attitude of the other person doesn't make the decision on whether or not I'm going to be helpful. Right? Because we get to a place where we don't take things personally anymore. So that way, when we go help other alcoholics and they get mad at us because we're trying to help, we don't take it personally and give up. That's the reasons. Yeah. Okay. Have you been sponsoring? You have? Great. Are you still sober? You are? Yeah. You know what that means? It means you're 100% you are 100% successful as a sponsor. That's what that means. I am 100% successful as a sponsor. I am still sober. That's why I sponsored, to keep my sobriety. Because I can't keep this gift unless I give it away. I can't. It doesn't work that way. All right. If this should happen, I will take a moment to center myself in God so that I will be able to respond from the perspective of composure, strength, and sensibility. Now, see, that's all God really wants, is for you to ask for guidance, a little bit of recognition. That is all God ever really asks for. Okay? Because we're talking about an entity here. Okay? See, the kingdom of heaven lies in you. Not out there. Not out there. It lies in you. Okay? Jesus didn't start a religion. When he started, you want to know what it was called? The Way. That's all. That's what he called it. The Way. What was the original name of the AA book? The Way Out. These are not coincidences. They did that because of that. Okay. They took it, but then they found out there were 12 others the way out, and we didn't want to be the 13th one, so we came up with Alcoholics Anonymous. See, divinely inspired, because we're not Jesus, right? So, God wants your soul. Yeah, God wants your soul. Make it sound all evil. God wants your soul. I'll swallow your soul. I'll swallow your soul. Evil Dead. All right, let's get to the book. Now that I've been blasphemous. Hey, we got to have fun, man. We got to have fun. Hey, I do truly believe all that. Absolutely, I do. Makes a lot more sense. All right. So, we're going to go to 278 and in AA Comes of Age. Let's see. Okay. One might say, therefore, that our 12 steps, judged by the socially accepted standard of happiness of this age, are steps backwards, but they are steps backward into the universal heart of man, back into the true spirit of man. The world will have moved forward when our dictionary definition of happiness is revised backward. So, what are they saying? That going backward isn't necessarily bad. How about back to basics? How about you're having a bad day and you got to go back to basics? Is that you going backwards or is that you really going forwards? That's you going forwards. But you had to go back a little bit to go forward some. Huh. All right. So going back isn't always necessarily a loss. It might be the re-beginning, the reigniting of something. Truths emerging in materialistic society are bound at times to be paradoxical. Consider, for example, the simple statement, I am an alcoholic. Well, the first time a man or woman stands before us and says, I'm an alcoholic, he speaks those words, he no longer drinks alcohol. You're making a statement, I am an alcoholic. It means I no longer drink alcohol. Thus, when it comes time that the member describes themselves as alcoholic, society ceases to regard them as such. Yet it is only at the moment when a member ceases to drink and he asserts the right to describe himself as an alcoholic. Hold on, I got to stop a cat fight real quick. All right. That better not happen during my. I'm gonna lock that cat up. So, we're talking a little over my head here, but we're gonna dig into it some. All right. So when he speaks those words, he no longer drinks. What they're saying is, we know, that statement has power in it. Is what I'm getting out of it. That when I state that I am an alcoholic, that is when things really begin. All right. But thus, this is what kind of got me. Thus, when the time comes, that members describe themselves as alcoholic, society ceases to regard them as such. Yeah. It's 11:11. It's now 11:12. That's what Leisure said. And then Amber said, that's what he said. Got to stop a cat fight. That's what he said. And I did. So does that mean that we get to a certain point and the way that others see us, they don't see us as alcoholic anymore? Oh, well, you're not drinking anymore. So therefore, see, because they think alcohol is the problem. That's part of the stigma. They think alcohol is the problem. Oh, you have a problem with alcohol. You have a problem with alcohol. You're a problem drinker. You have a drinking problem. See? But it wasn't the problem. It was the solution. A horrible solution, but it was. When alcoholics live materialistic and drink excessively, they refuse to accept the label of alcoholic. Yet when they cease to drink and they say to themselves and to the world, we are alcoholics, the world refuses to see them as such. This is the stigma that they're talking about. Oh, you're not an alcoholic. You're not living on Skid Row. You're not drinking out of a brown paper bag. You're not bumming change. You're not doing it. You're not an alcoholic. And why are they saying this? Number one, because they don't understand alcoholism themselves. And number two, they are probably alcoholic and doing the same thing. And they don't want to admit it. Now what we have is a mutual admiration society. And these two people will help provide each other with excuses to continue their behavior and their drinking. Oh, I'm not as bad as. All right. And it doesn't matter how low you go. There will always be something worse in your mind. Right? What an unthinking world may look upon defeat. Alcoholics in AA know as a triumph of the spirit, a triumph of humility over false pride and self-centeredness. How few humans, how few, how few human beings ever have the courage to stand up before their neighbors and say, in humility, describing themselves truthfully, to say, that is what I really am. There are two moments in which utterance of the words "I am an alcoholic" have a great significance. The first time a member speaks those words at an AA meeting, right? First time we went into a meeting and said, "I'm so and so, I am an alcoholic." It was a statement, and at this point, it was fact. Because we do not require you to say I'm so and so and I'm an alcoholic. There's nowhere in the book does it say that you have to present yourself that way. Nope. Okay. You can go in and say, I'm Dion. I have a drinking problem. I'm Dion. I think I might have a problem with drinking. I'm Dion. I'm curious about this sobriety thing. All these are legitimate. They are not required to speak like me, especially if they are new. We got to let them find their way. Because admitting you're an alcoholic is really hard to do. But the hard part is this, is because once we admit it, we know we got to do something about it. And we're not sure we want to do that part. Right? So there is, however, an earlier time, which is perhaps even greater significance. That is a moment when a man says to his sponsor in the darkness and desperation of his soul, I am an alcoholic. And this moment points to another paradox in AA. Now, I want you to listen. What did they just say? They said there is another time that this happens before the AA meeting, and it happens with their sponsor. What does that mean? What are they talking about? Well, you used to be sponsored into AA. That's what they're talking about. You should still be sponsored into AA, doing 12-step work. That's actually how it works. But it's a little different right now. I'm not gonna go into why and all that other stuff today. So now we're getting to what we're supposed to be getting. It only took me 27 minutes to get there, but we got there. Leisure says, my name is Scott and my life has become unmanageable. Yep, there's two parts, huh? 2 parts. Oh, and that's where people get that managing. Oh, I was managing my life just fine. Okay, go ask your children if that's true. Go ask your significant other. Go ask your mom. Go ask your dad, your aunties, your uncles. Is that true? And they're going to be like, no, you're full of shit. You're borrowing money from me all the time. What are you talking about? Aha. Okay. The paradox is that the member of AA approaches his suffering alcoholic brother not from the superiority and strength of his position of recovery, but from the realization of his own weakness. Yes, my own weakness. And what is my own weakness? I'm powerless over alcohol. That when I drink, I cannot stop. When I drink, I become insatiable. And then I do weird, absurd, tragic things. I'll just sit around and hang out and leave everybody alone. No, I gotta make sure the world feels the way that I do, which was usually not good, especially at the end there. But I'm certainly not superior to this person. I'm not. There's not much difference between that. The difference is I have worked the solution. Oh, wow. Okay, well, I just found out that one of my sponsees just got their driver's license back. And they thought it was okay to put it online before telling me. Jerk. I'm using that as an example for the superiority here. And it worked out well. Thank you, God, for that great leeway. That was a great leeway. All right. Doesn't matter. That's fucking awesome. That's so cool. 11 years. All right. The member talks to the newcomer not in the spirit of power, but in the spirit of humility and weakness. He does not speak of how misguided the still suffering alcoholic is. He speaks of how misguided he once was. He does not sit in judgment of another, but in judgment of himself as he had been. And that makes the difference between you and me and the non-alcoholics. See, they can only point out what is going wrong in their lives and use that pain as kind of a thing. Well, we alcoholics aren't going to listen to that. But when you have somebody come in and say, I was sitting in here in detox, I had just gotten a DUI, or this happened or that happened, I was given 6 months to live. I had jaundice, all these really hard things. And then they start to realize and say, maybe I'm a little bit like you. Maybe I do have this alcohol bug. Maybe, yeah, because you're okay working with humility and understanding your own weaknesses. And your weakness is that you can't handle your alcohol. It's one of them, right? But since you have recovered from a hopeless state of mind and body, you will be able to see things that other people cannot see. Let them tell their story a little bit. Okay. Now, if they're telling your story and you are going to tell yours, do not one up. This isn't a one up storytelling thing. It is about seeing how we are alike. Yep. That's what it's about. Seeing how we are alike. So he does not sit in judgment of another, but in judgment of himself as he had been. And what does this take again? It takes discernment, right? Good judgment. And this is it's not the first paradox. It's like the umpteenth paradox, because it's at the end. You can't keep it unless you give it away. If somebody gave this program to you freely and you charge for it, you're not going to get some of the benefits that come from being in recovery, because that's not recovery. You're going to feel it. Here's the key. If you decide to get into the field of addiction, which if you want to, great. That's awesome. We always need more people. The key is you better have sponsors. Sponsors before clients. That's the key. You better be sponsoring somebody if you plan to go into that field. Because otherwise, you're going to take that field and utilize it as your service work, but you're getting paid for it. That's not service work. That's a job. And you got to keep these things separate. Okay? If you're going to work in the field and you go to in-person AA meetings, I would recommend that you work on the other side of town. Or you're going to run into your clients and stuff all the time, and it's up to you. All right. Anyway. Society, in referring to the alcoholic, employs the expression the enslavement of alcohol. For the AA member, the statement is a very special sense paradoxical too. If indeed it is true at all, in sober fact, the member was never enslaved by alcohol. Alcohol simply served as an escape from personal enslavement to the false ideals of materialistic society. Okay. Yet, if we accept society's definition of alcoholic's earlier state as enslavement by alcohol, the AA member can no longer resent it. Can't resent it because it has served to set him free from all materialistic traps with which the paths through the jungle of our society are set. For the alcoholic first had to face materialism as a disease of society before he could free himself of the illness of alcoholism and be free of the social ills that made him an alcoholic. Now, to a certain degree, this still goes on. I'll give you, how about AUD, alcohol use disorder? See, that is society creating names for the alcoholic. Did they ask us? Did they ask you? Yeah, that was okay. See, we can't say homeless anymore. We have to say unhoused. We can't say they were murdered. They were unalived. You continue taking away these words, and the meaning of what is going on is going to be disrupted, and you won't have the truth. And the truth is they're dead. The truth is I'm an alcoholic. The truth is they are homeless, period. Okay. Now, why do they have alcohol use disorder? Because it does serve a purpose. Okay. It does, in a sense. That is for clinical only. It is written. It should, okay. Now, if you are, let's say you have a drinking problem, but you have not admitted you are an alcoholic, what you have at the time is alcohol use disorder. It's unfortunate, but hey. Now, when I sit down with a sponsee, it's not like I sit down and go, I'm Dion and I have alcohol use disorder. I don't say that. Oh, did you know you have SUD? Do you know you have AUD? And if you are doing that, you're only saying that so you talk about other people's heads. You're probably a recovery coach that believes that they have clients. Dear recovery coaches, you don't have clients, you have customers. You haven't earned the right to client. Okay. You went and did a week of work and now you think that you have clients. It's hilarious. Okay. And the professionals notice it. You're taking away their respect. So you didn't earn it. You gotta earn it. Leisure says, what about illegal homeless alcoholics? Oh. Men and women who use alcohol as an escape are not the only ones who are afraid of life, hostile to the world, fleeing from it in loneliness. Millions who are not alcoholic are living today in illusory worlds, nurturing the basic anxieties and the insecurities of human existence, rather than face themselves with courage and humility. To these people, AA can offer as a cure no magic potion, no chemical formula, no powerful drug, but it can demonstrate to them how to use the tools of humility, honesty, devotion, and love, which indeed are the heart of the 12 steps of recovery. What does that mean? It means you are always carrying the word. And have you heard about the word? Don't worry, I'm not going to do it. The bird is the word. That's all I'll say. Okay. It's running in my head though. It is. It's still going. Right. So serving my brother or sister. What does that mean? It means I'm a servant. I'm not a servant to that person. I'm a servant to my higher power. So do what you can. Be a good person. All right. I'm gonna wrap this up. 2.5 hours. I got 2.5 hours. All right. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Whew. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And remember,